Guys, I'm back. I'm here with you on Friday on the video, and I'm over there getting your paint ready too at the sinks. Remember, we are painting a beautiful scene of a starry night. Do you remember the name of the artist who painted the beautiful painting Starry Night? It's Vincent van Gogh, and he was an artist who was trying to create the impression of something he remembered. The impression that it made on him, how it made him feel when he saw this beautiful starry night was what he was trying to create in the painting. So all the beautiful lights in the sky, the lighter colors, the yellow in the sky, swirling around in the sky. You can see lots of the lines in the painting. That was to try to make it look like how he felt when he saw all those beautiful stars in the sky. You don't really usually see swirling lines in the sky, but that was how he felt when he looked at it. And then he also has some lights down here on the ground, on the tops of the houses. These are tops of houses and tops of bushes and trees. And the stars are shining on the tops of those houses. There's some lights in some windows too, where they're lighting up almost like stars. We're also going to be painting the tree in the starry night, the cypress tree that he saw standing up like a big dark shadow, almost kind of spooky. So today we're going to paint that tree and we're going to paint the starry sky. So you have your painting from yesterday, hopefully. If you weren't here, maybe you can paint this part without the background. Or I might have painted an extra one that you could use today. So we're going to paint the tree first before we paint the night sky, because we paint the tree and it might go over the shape that we made. It might cover up some of the parts of the sky. So we'll paint the tree and then we'll put the sky in the parts around in the sky area in our painting. So let's use a pretty good sized brush. I'm going to bring you a brush that's kind of like the one we used yesterday when we were painting the ground, the hills, and the sky. And we're going to use some brown paint. Actually, no. First, we need to use yellow, and I will show you why. It's kind of a neat trick. We're going to paint the tree bright yellow first. It's going to be so cool when we're finished, but right now, it might be a little bit confusing why I'm using bright yellow. So I'm going to paint the whole tree shape yellow, and I want you to do it too. And you're going to need, when you get your paint, and then you're going to need to do it very quickly. I'll show you why. We're painting the tree, the cypress tree shape that you drew, that we left white yesterday, very quickly with yellow. All right, so I've got that whole shape painted yellow. Now I'm going to clean the yellow off my brush and dry it on my paper towel, because we don't want to put extra water in this paint. Then I'm going to use the brown paint and paint over top of the yellow. We're not really trying to mix it together. We're just painting a thick coat of brown over top of the yellow. And I will show you why as soon as I get it all painted brown. You'll need to paint it quickly. So you want to get enough paint on your brush and get the shape of the tree painted quickly. We're not trying to rub it back and forth a lot, because we're not trying to make a different color by mixing the yellow and the brown together on the paper. I'm just covering the yellow with the brown. And it's all right if you change the shape of your tree just a little bit, because it's a natural shape that doesn't have to be a specific, perfect geometric shape anyway. All right, so there's the tree. You shouldn't be able to see any yellow sticking out on the branches or anywhere on the tree. It's hiding underneath right now. I'm going to clean that brush in the water. Don't really need to dry it, because now I'm going to use a different tool, not a paintbrush, to make some lines in the tree. So it looks like it has leaves and different areas in the tree, and it's going to have lines in it like Vincent van Gogh liked to use lines in his painting style, the impressionistic style. To get the lines in the paint, we're going to use a fork. Yeah, we're going to use a plastic fork. So then you're going to take your plastic fork and start at the top and just make some swirling lines. Oh, that looks so cool. Going down your tree. Do that on different parts of your tree. to make it look like leaves or bark on the tree. So we're putting some patterns or texture so it looks rough and bumpy or fluffy in different parts. You can turn your fork like I'm turning it sideways there to make it fit in the shape. And we'll turn it to do that at the top too. Vincent Van Gogh did this with knives, with paint knives. And we can do it with other tools like forks too. So we're just scratching through the brown to let the yellow show up. That looks so cool. You can make as many lines as you want, but try to leave some of the brown paint on the tree or it won't look like texture, it'll just look yellow. If you get all the brown scratched off, then you'll just have a yellow tree. So let's just scratch off some, and then you can wipe the brown off of your fork so we can use it again. That's a pretty cool technique, isn't it? Now we're gonna use a smaller brush. I have a couple of smaller brushes in my cup, and I'll probably try to give you 1 or 2 smaller brushes to choose from to draw some details. I mean, paint. We're painting this. We're not drawing it first. We're going to paint some details. I'm going to get some yellow on the tip of my brush, just on the end, because we don't paint with the whole stick, just the hairs on the end, and paint a moon or stars. I'm going to start with a moon. A moon could be like a crescent moon, or it could be a whole circle, a whole moon if you want in your picture. If your painting is dry, it won't mix with the blue. Now I'm painting this one the same day I painted the sky, so it's a little bit mixing together a little bit because it's not quite dry. But yours should be good and dry after it dried all night. So I'm going to paint a crescent moon shape, like a letter C. Could be a C or a backwards C, either way, in the sky for the moon. And there might be some lines swirling around that moon where the light from the moon is shining out. That's what Vincent Van Gogh was doing with all the light colors in the sky. He made them swirl around like dots that were going around in circles, or little short lines going around in circles. We can do that with stars too. Just put a dot for a star. And then paint some swirling lines going around. And then we can also make dots going around the stars. Like it's swirling around in the sky. You need to get enough paint on your paintbrush that each time you want to make a dot or a swirl, it makes a mark on the paper. If you're starting to run out, you need to get more paint. But just put a little bit of paint right on the tip of the paintbrush. You can make the wind blow through your picture like he did with some swirling, curling lines, like a spiral curl. There's lots of lines in his brush strokes, which is why we're doing this project this week, because it's a different way to use lines in pots. The Impressionist artist wanted people to see the lines in their paint. They didn't want to blend it in. I'm gonna make another star right there with some swirling lines around it. So fill your sky with some swirling stars and a moon. And hopefully it's not blending in. Mine is blending in because the paint's not quite dry yet. If it is blending in some, you can always put more on your paintbrush like I'm doing and add more color to the area that you want it to be light yellow. If it's turning green, just add more yellow to it. I think I need to blend that out just a little bit right there. You could also paint some buildings down at the bottom. We're just using yellow and brown today, so you could choose if you want to use yellow or brown. You might use brown for the building and yellow for the lights coming out of the windows. That's what Vincent Van Gogh was trying to do. I had to clean my brush. Now I'm going to get some brown and paint a building. So I'm just going to paint a rectangle shape. And it's on the ground because that's where most buildings are. We'll fill that whole rectangle shape in for my building. Now, of course, a building isn't just a rectangle. It's not flat. Buildings aren't flat. But if we're looking at it from the front, we wouldn't be able to see any of the other sides of the shape of the building. So it might just look flat from the front. And then I could paint a roof on this building. Usually buildings don't just have flat roofs. They might have a triangle roof, like a lot of houses. There's my triangle roof building. And then to add some lights in the windows, I need to clean the brown off my brush and use my yellow and just pat it on top because I don't want it to mix together. I'm just going to pat the lights on top so it looks like windows with lights shining through them. So if you want to add a building, you don't have to. If you want to, you can paint a building with some light shining through the windows. You could make it a church, like Vincent Van Gogh's Starry Night has a church, and to make it look like a church, I just need a steeple or a cross on top. There, now I've got a church in my painting, but you don't have to have a church. You don't even have to have a building. If you want to, you can add that to it. I know today is reward day, so we're going to get started painting this, and I hope you enjoy painting your own Starry Night picture.